Hi, everybody, and welcome to the magical combination of a Friday and a new moon. Wow! Which means that we can invoke the presence and blessings and protection of Ma Kali, the one goddess involved in removing, releasing entities. The other god involved is Lord Shivji. His day comes on Monday. Today we will only be invoking our dearest Kali Ma to come in, eat away at these energies that are draining us, that are sapping us, that are taking away our life force, that are making us unwell, that are bringing about all kinds of badhas. Badhas are restrictions in everything that's good, healthy, and wealthy in our lives. I think everybody understands entities. Entities is an energy that is extremely negative and an energy that is extremely draining in our systems. For those of you all who are very sensitive, you might have already sensed the presence of entities or thought they might be entities, or somebody else might have shown up in your space and mentioned entities to you. Either way, most of us are familiar with this term. It's a term that is a term for everything that's decaying, rotting, putrefying, killing, dying, and taking our energies along with it. Entities can attach to auric fields. Entities can attach to hair. Entities can attach to body parts. Most of the time, because entities are always around us, we don't even realize when they've attached to us until disastrous stuff starts taking place one after the other. Most nights of the soul are heralded by a bunch of entities present as well. And the dark night of the soul, I think, is another experience and phase that we are all comfortable with. Just in case you are not, the dark night of the soul is when you start losing everything, when everything falls apart, when you start hitting rock bottom, and then you do something to feel better, but you end up hitting another rock bottom, then another rock bottom. The dark night of the soul is actually many nights, many months, for some of us, many, many years. And the dark night of the soul invariably carries some amount of entity attachment because they come to enhance the darkness, nightness of that particular period in our lives. I would like us to make sure that we are right now feeling very safe dealing with these energies. For those of y'all where it is daytime, please make sure that your windows are open. In India, which is the time that I normally follow, it is nighttime. We don't want to open those windows. Please light your candles on either side of you now. Not that you couldn't have lit it before the call, but the act of lighting the candle together, knowing single-mindedly that this is what we're going to work on, will already start detaching the entities from us, clearing our spaces. As you're lighting your candle, I am going to be scanning as well as cleansing, clearing everybody's houses. This is something I do on an almost daily basis for my family, for Earth, for the oceans of Earth. And, well, I look forward to a time where we can all look back, 50 years from now and say, hey, it finally worked. So I'm going to be doing a round of cleansing and clearing for your homes right now. Light your candles, sit back, make the intention that you are completely purified, cleansed, and cleared of all entities and entity attachments to you. I am beginning the process of scanning and clearing now. I've entered your houses. And done. Take a minute. Drink your water, not the glass of water that you've kept aside, but you're drinking turbocharged water. Hydrate fully. And once you've hydrated, I would like you to take your salt water and very carefully, so as to not upset your electronics and your devices and yourself, in some distance, I just want you to sprinkle some of this water. Salt water is very protective. Salt is very cleansing. I, for example, am using pink Himalayan organic rock salt in the water. So I just want you to sprinkle it around you in a circle. Obviously, wherever the water falls, as in because you're sprinkling it, it'll fall in drops. That will also need to be completely wiped off, and that particular tissue or tiny piece of cloth thrown with the lemons at the end of this call. Draw your circle of protection. You know, it's like Angela on our group was mentioning how she has these surrogate sympathetic projects every time she works with someone. She works with someone who has lower back pain. In a day, she has lower back pain. So that kind of surrogacy, sympathy, and empathy we don't want today. Today, you have to be completely self-centered, self-pointed, and selfish, and only take care of your own space, place, and body. I see that your circle is done. You may have had to stand up to do this. That's absolutely fine. Put the glass water away, close by to you. And please join me with, in Namaskara Mudra, your candles lit in front of you. So it's almost like you're at an altar. And you are going to say, Om, Kreem, Kali, I am willing, I am willing, I am willing, I am willing. Om, Kreem, Kali, I am willing, I am willing, I am willing. Om, Kreem, Kali, I am willing, I am willing, I am willing. Om, Kreem, Kali, I am willing, I am willing, I am willing, I am willing. I feel like we should say it a couple more times. Om, Kreem, Kali, I am willing, I am willing, I am willing. Om, Kreem, Kali, I am willing, I am willing, I am willing. Start becoming aware of your right hand. Have water if you need to. Om Kreem Kali can also make us feel quite dehydrated. Once you are back to being hydrated fully, connect with your right palm on the left shoulder. Draw a diagonal down to your right hip. So draw a line from the left shoulder to the right hip with your palm. Connect with your left palm Place it on the right shoulder. Draw a line down to your left hip. Basically, you are tracing an X on the body. X is one of the most protective symbols there is. X is also a way of our left brain coordinating with our right brain, because the one thing that I have seen that is very attractive to entities is an imbalance, a chronic imbalance within the body. Chronic imbalance of falling into our story or falling into other people's stories. Chronic imbalance of pressures. Like if you're the kind of person who feels compelled to say yes, no matter what somebody is asking from you, you are falling in an imbalanced pressure. You will notice that you don't have the same kind of pressure to receive. One more time, please. Right hand on the left, diagonal down to your right hip. Left hand on the right shoulder, diagonal down to your left hip. Can we please do this rapidly now, 11 times? First with the right, then with the left. Have another sip of water. The reason I asked you to eat a meal an hour before is because if there are entities attached, the energy required to detach them is phenomenal, is enormous. Therefore, the energy cannot be occupied with digesting food. You might feel giddy, you might feel dizzy, you might feel a little shivery, you might feel like, oh God, I don't want to do this. Check with your knowing. Is that you or is that the entity? I now want us to go into our second round of protection. And the second round of protection is the Pentacle, another talisman of protection. The Pentacle that you are seeing in the figure on the group, this has been energized for protection. As you can see in the center, there is a little bit of space, and that space is the whitest space in the entire image. I want you to see yourselves stand or sit in this place, right in the center of the triangles. Close your eyes if you like. If you can see this image in your head, place yourself bang in the center. Again, this will start detaching you from entities as well as from everybody else's energies. You are not to carry anybody else's pain, suffering, resistance, reluctance right now. Only be with you. Once you have seated or are standing in the Pentacle, I want you to start seeing shimmering drops fall around you. These shimmering drops are actually mirrors. Mirrors are also fabulous to work with entities. Mirrors can absorb entities. What we are doing right now in the Pentacle is clearing your aura of attachments, because you in the Pentacle and the area of that hexagon in the Pentacle is now your auric field. So as you start seeing these shimmering droplets fall around you, they will start detaching, disconnecting all the entity attachments there. I'm also going to give the decree here. The decree here right now is using only power words. Power words are words of action. They are words that are verbs, doing words. So I'm going to give the instruction to each and everybody's auric field right now. Auric fields, detach and disconnect all entities in your space right away, right now. Auric fields, detach and disconnect all remaining entities in your space right away, right now. Auric fields, deplug and declamp all entities in your space right away, right now. Activating protection of the shield of mirrors. See yourself back again in the pentacle, and around the pentacle you are now going to see the pentacle becoming 3D, like there is a balloon coming out in front and a balloon coming out from the back. You are placed in this balloon. This balloon is made up of cosmic material. You do not know what it is. It may look like acrylic, it may look like metal, it may look transparent, it may look plasticky. It is cosmically made for your protection right now. Around this bubble, you will hear and feel all shields closing in. You will hear the metallic clang as each shield starts closing in around this bubble. You are inside the bubble, sheathed. On the sheath, the next level of mirrors start showing up. These mirrors start attaching in bits and pieces. So it's like another level of construction of your protection. Mirrors attaching, mirrors fitting in so that there is no space between each mirror. Mirrors in the front, mirrors in the back, mirrors underneath, mirrors on top. And as the mirrors finish their work, you will know, because inside the bubble, a light will go on. You should be seeing the space in the bubble as absolutely light, white, bright. You are going to be here for a while. As soon as you have seen this, let me know. Fantastic. Superb. Superb. See how your breath is. Is your breath connected to this other dimension and universe and reality? If you are holding your breath, please make sure that you consciously release, relax. Y'all are high priestesses right now. Y'all want to be completely in tune, fearless, courageous, divine, radiant, resplendent in your own power, confidence, and sense of well-being. Remember, If the entities had to leave very easily, they would have. And while entities you can leave now is super and fantastic, I have seen that we need a little deeper work than the you can leave now. Before we get on to working with these energies directly, and this is awesome, Ramlin says, I have seen the white bright light. Swati is there. Florence is in a shining bright place. Alice says, having my eyes closed, I can see a bright lid up. Superb. Josie says, I see the light. Florence says, it's all shining bright. Excellent. When we shine bright, entities cannot come in. And tell me, my darlings, what is the one time we shine bright in our lives? When are you light, white, bright? When are you optimistic, hopeful, confident, positive? When does that take place in our lives? And Donna says, when loving. Absolutely. Will you all remember this always, my darlings? The opposite of entity is love. Entities come when we have a very traumatizing, terrorizing, unsafe, unprotected childhood. When out of our own compulsions and our own need for safety and protection, we lead lives that are lonely, isolated. Entities are very attracted to negativities, to complaining, whining, cribbing. You know, we all know this one person, right? They just cannot stop talking negatively. They just cannot stop cribbing. Entities love that. When we come from a space of love, especially for ourselves, we are always light, white, bright. Entities cannot come in. That energy of light, white, bright, to bring more of that in right now in this dimension, I would like to take a look at some of the most fundamental causes of entity attachment. And I have seen two primarily. They're both linked to each other. Of course, unsafe and unprotected, unloved, unvalidated, which are also ways we feel unsafe and unprotected. Can any of you all tell me the connection between being unsafe and unprotected and entity attacks or entity attachments? How amazing, Shushmita. Lord Hanumanji is also one of the most protective gods we have when we do this work. And we've got candles that are sizzling, crackling, going out. And thank you, Bridget. Yes, Vandana, you must relight the candle. Your altar must be lit throughout this particular ceremony, which is actually a ceremony of words more than anything else, but it is a ceremony nevertheless. And Mona says, at peace with ourselves. Yes, my love, at peace with ourselves, content with ourselves, fulfilled in our lives, satisfied. Unhappiness, dissatisfaction, all of these are also very attractive to entities. But tell me, my darlings, what is the connection between being unsafe and unprotected and entity attachments and entity attacks? Bridget says, insecurity equals protection down. Yes, that is correct. Nikita says, I'm feeling so sleepy. Sleep, ma. Stay connected to the call. Close your eyes. We can start trembling and shaking also, by the way. Karishma says, we're always living in fear when we feel unsafe and unprotected, and hence I feel we attract entities. You're getting there. What happens to us when we're unsafe and unprotected is that our auric fields don't develop well. A strong auric field keeps out germs, illness, disease, entities. And by the way, pain, illness, disease are also places that entities attach to very easily because our protection systems are down at that point. Our immunity is busy fighting off what's going on in the body to be available to fight off what's going on in our environment. At any given point, we are taking in 14,000 gigabytes, 14,000 million gigabytes per second of information. Can you imagine how much we do to protect ourselves? When we are unsafe and unprotected, that auric field development, that attachment between auric field and immunity system does not take place. That bubble, then we have to make bubbles of this cosmic material, of metallic sheets around it. Did you all hear the clang, clang, clang as the sheets started closing in, like you all were being fortressed? Then the shield of mirrors. The shield of mirrors is an amazing protection tool, especially for those of y'all who interact with a lot of other people. Just see yourself covered and surrounded by these fragments of mirrors so tightly together that you have this mosaic of mirrors around you. Mirrors reflect entities, stop entities, and therefore in the stopping can end up breaking and cracking. Mirrors breaking in your house, wonderful sign. Glass breaking in your house, especially crystalline glass, because crystalline glass is sentient material. So even when that happens, it's a great sign. And Sahana says, entities love vulnerable people. Absolutely, my love. Because in that vulnerability, when are we vulnerable? When we don't have that ball of protection around us. And so one of the terrifying, terrible, horrible truths about entity attachments is that it has to do with how safe and protected we were kept at home. Our mothers keep us safe in the house. Our fathers keep us safe in the world. Between the two of them, our safety and protection internally and externally is defined. And this is the other thing that I have seen with almost every entity attachment, especially entity attacks, psychic attacks, black magic, dark spells. There is a mother who didn't love. There is a mother who sent ill will. There is a mother who was sadistic enough to feel better about herself when we were down, out, and suffering, when we were guilt-tripped and manipulated. Because such a mother, and I'm telling you, I've told you, my darling, this is a heavy, serious call, but such a mother can give rise to such negative vibes that they can get entwined with entities and attach to us. When we have a parent like that, especially a mother, but we could have had a father like that as well. And invariably in all our families, you have mothers who get into competition with daughters and fathers who get into competition with sons. I remember, this is not a flattering story, but I remember that I was so stunned when I read about this Instagram post that David Beckham had put up, where he said he walked into a room and his 10-year-old son said to him, "Oh, look, I have a few million followers already." And he turned to his son and he was very proud of it. And he said, "Oh, but I have hundreds of millions of followers." The boy was 10 years old. And each one of us, no matter how well-meaning our parents may have been, how well-meaning we as parents may have been, invariably such an interaction would have taken place. It's normal. It would happen. It's only if such interactions took place too much that the entities start getting invited and welcomed in. So everywhere that you are making this happen, allowing this to happen, having this happen, creating this, generating this, recreating this, you can all leave now 100 trillion times. You can all leave now, 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 you can all leave now. You can all leave now. You can all leave now, 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 you can all leave now. You can all leave now. You can all leave now, 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 you can all leave now. You can all leave now. What this kind of childhood does to us are those two things that I was bringing up. One, terrible self-judgments. Inner critic always ruling the roost. I have also seen that these judgments get projected onto others. So you may think that you are very judgmental about other people, and God bless you if you have that honesty and awareness, but what you're actually putting out is what you have too much of. You can only give what's in your bank, and you give the most of what your bank is overflowing with. So if your bank is overflowing with judgment, obviously that is what you will bring into the world. If your bank is overflowing with love, obviously that is what you will bring in to the world. If your bank is overflowing with positivity, obviously that is what you will bring into the world. If your bank is overflowing with negativity, obviously that is what you will bring to the world. And so these terrible bunches, batches, groups, bevies of judgments give rise to this one singular emotion and sense that we've all learned to live with, and that is a sense of wrongness. Everybody who has had entities showing up, attacking, attaching, has a sense deep down inside that something's not okay with me. Something is terribly missing in my life. There is a big vacuum in my life. Nature abhors a vacuum. So when you have a vacuum, whatever can come and fill in that vacuum will come in. And depending on the degree of wrongness, you can either pull in more light than darkness, or you can pull in more darkness than light. Entities fill a vacuum in our lives, which is why when they attach to us, we attach back to them. Which is why when they plug into us, we feed them. Because we don't have that vacuum. A vacuum is the most terrorizing thing for any human being. More terrorizing than abuse, murder, rape, killing. We do not wish to ever be empty. And when we are empty, empty of the love, safety, protection, praise, celebration of us, that emptiness becomes a home to bring in entities. And so, my darlings, on a scale of 0 to 10, what is your degree of wrongness? Rennie says, can we do the mirrors for someone else? The same rules apply for surrogate work in energy medicine, my love. You do it if they are babies, extremely elderly, invalid, patients, pets, plants. You don't do it if they are capable of doing it. We never interfere with another person's free will. Sonal says, my left hand candle has burned down fast. Should I light another? I have used 3 white candles. Please do. Please light another. And mine is just about closing. My darling, give me that moment. In the meantime, tell me, what is the degree of wrongness that you are dealing with? I am not okay. There is something terribly wrong with me. You know the thing with wrongness? The terrible thing about wrongness is that you also secretly believe that you can never fix it, that you can never repair it, that you can never make it right. You can spend so much of your time, energy, and bandwidth just trying to bring in some rightness without realizing that all that we need to do with the wrongness is let it go. How many of us attach to the wrongness, my darlings? Isn't it easier to force yourself to think that it's better to work on manifesting and be positive instead of dealing with the wrongness? Because chronic project, it's become comfort zone. It's something we've lived in. Our mothers made us feel wrong. Our fathers made us feel wrong. Our siblings made us feel wrong. Our teachers made us feel wrong. Our friends made us feel wrong. That wrongness just becomes a way of life. But at the same time, we know something's not okay. I need to do something. But this, the wrongness that we carry, and many thanks to Access Consciousness for this word, it blew my mind the first time I heard it. It's incredible. What a word. How much it sums up. That wrongness, as we start releasing, I promise you, my darlings, it's going to take quite a few entities with it. And then, of course, we will get to the single word that we want to use for entities and use it every new moon, every waning cycle of the moon. And now, in the speaking, I allowed my candle to go off. Hang on, my darlings. I'm just going to get my next one, which I had already kept handy, so it's right here. I'm done. I am loving seeing my candles and my lemon on the side. Are you feeling like that as well? Loving this extra bit of light coming in? Like really feeling, even though this is not your traditional altar, that you're at an altar? Oh, the numbers are in. And Radha says, but I'm enjoying my vacuum on some days, these days. And that is the next part of our healing journey, my love, where we are no longer afraid of the vacuum. The vacuum is the part of us that allows us to enjoy solitude, where we can spend time in our own company and be thoroughly rejuvenated, inspired, and motivated. And Mandy says, my mother is narcissistic. Yeah, narcissistic, sadistic, masochistic. And the thing is, my darling, these beasts, they exist in all of us. We've all been sadistic at some point. We've all been masochistic at some point. We've all invited trouble at some point. We've all felt like martyrs at some point. It's only if it's out of control, if you're looking at this on a continuous basis where it's become a pattern, is when you know that it's become pernicious behavior, it's become comfort zone, and we need to do something about it. Let's take a look, my darlings, at these large numbers of 9, 7, 9, 8 of wrongness. And let us see what we can do to erase it completely. For those of you all who are familiar with my work, you know there are 5 stages to healing. Stage number 1, understanding, stroke honesty, stroke awareness, stroke acknowledgement. If you can't acknowledge the elephant in the room, you'll never get it out. Leading to stage 2, acceptance. Leading to stage 3, letting go. Leading to stage 4, forgiveness. Leading to stage 5, gratitude. We've lived with this wrongness for very long. In this wrongness are us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All our younger ages are wrapped up in this wrongness. I want you to close your eyes, my darlings, and I want you to see this wrongness. How does this wrongness look? Who all are trapped inside this wrongness? And you may see your parents, your siblings, your friends in that as well. How is this wrongness looking? Can you make out how murky, muddy, brownish, dirty, filthy, dripping, tar-like. What do you see as the wrongness? And Shushmita says, I can identify with being compared. You feel a bit broken. Absolutely, my darlings. You feel a bit broken. And while it's very good to know that you were never broken, that there is nothing to fix, and there is nothing wrong with you, the fact is that at some point or the other, all of us feel shattered. And what is shattered? Shattered is us realizing our auric field has completely fragmented. Because we are not shattered, the body is not shattered, and yet we are sensing being shattered, being broken. When you feel broken, something in your auric field has torn. And now it is open to these entities. And everything that's good also, but everything that's not good also. And Preeti says, my father-in-law thinks and talks all negative things. Is there entity in him? Very possible. Or an entity around him, or an entity who's taken over him. Because entities can make us do incredible stuff. The wrongness of us gives rise to horrendous, deep-rooted, self-sabotage, self-destructive, self-spiteful energies. You know, autoimmune disorders, where the body has turned onto itself, that comes from deep self-hatred and self-spite and self-destruction. Guaranteed, there will be an entity or entities attached somewhere in there. Take a look at this wrongness, my love, and now that you have defined this wrongness and you are seeing this wrongness and sensing this wrongness, what can you do to clear it? The fastest, easiest thing that I like to do is to use the cosmic hose of diamond glitter. And diamond glitter comes out like diamonds of water, like water of diamonds. And this, when you put it, and make sure that you have seen who all are trapped in the wrongness, because you're going to be setting everybody free. When you start hosing it down, it is incredible how that wrongness starts to disappear. Try it for yourselves, please. Farida, please light all the candles. Yeah, you have lit them. Awesome. And Jaspreet says, I'm having a sort of swinging feeling. Yeah, swinging, shuddering, trembling, shaking. All of these are when entities are unplugging. Alice says, the wrongness to me feels like regret. However you see it, my love. Wrongness is a self structure of regrets, grief, blame, shame, guilt, especially self-blame, especially judgments for the self. Nice things to say about everybody, only wrong things to say about yourself. Don't post any pictures, my darlings. Karishma says, I'm feeling sleepy, more so the relaxed feeling and hence need to sleep. Please do. Oh, my loves, please don't put up pictures. Because first of all, your camera will trap it. Then the picture will start releasing that energy. Delete your pictures, please. And yes, if the candle's burnt out, you must light another one. Vandana says, I suddenly felt that my wrongness is manifesting as anxiety in me. Superb. However, I just want you to see it because wrongness is not just one thing. It's 100,000 memories. It's It's 100,000 lifetimes. It's 100,000 ways of our interaction with our parents. It's 100,000 bits and pieces of us. That world of wrongness is what I want you to see and hose it down with diamond water. And Tejashree saw something like venom from the movie, and that is actually how entities look. And you know how that kind of venom spreads? How that tar-like thing spreads? That is actually how they move. I'll tell you the other thing that entities like very much are sweet energies. So those of y'all who have a primary element of earth, because earth is very sweet, it's the sweetest of all the elements, there's a tendency to attract entities. And physically also they like sweets very much. So if you have a sugar addiction, there will be a tendency to be attractive to entities. In fact, if there is already an entity attachment, sugar addictions go up. Because they're feeding off your sweetness, so you need to replenish your sweetness. I'll give you another word for entities, curses. Yes, Daisy, bad luck, ill will, jealousy. Jealousy carries a lot of entities. When somebody throws a jealous energy at us, it's yummy, it's tangy, it's delicious to an entity, and which can attach to it very easily, and along with that jealous energy thrown to us, get the entity in as well. And Sangeet says wrongness is emptiness. Why is that, my love? Emptiness is required. When we fast, we are actually moving into emptiness. Emptiness is very important for all our journeys. Focusing on the breath is a way of emptying ourselves out of thought. Emptiness, silence, these are ways that we master our mind. These are ways that we master our energies. And Sonal also says tar like drooping. Yes, my love. Tar also comes from lots of trauma. Trauma is tar in the body. And Florence says, husband still shoots darts at me and it hurts deep. Why are you with him, my love? What is your secondary gain? What is the pain that is so much bigger than the pain of staying that you rather stay? Nepali says, I'm feeling very sad. Let it come, my love. Mandy says, wrongness is dark, heavy, emptiness. Heaviness is always anger. Nikita says, I'm feeling nothing and I'm calm. Lovely. Have you washed it down? Yes, diamond water, Sangeet. You take a hose with diamond water and you just start hosing this wrongness that you are seeing, and people will start appearing out of that. You will start appearing out of that. Your family will start appearing out of that. And that's another thing, Jaspreet. I feel I am all alone doing all the work, no support for my work from family or outside. That comes from huge wrongness, ma. Because actually we've not been supported, right? Because we've not been kept safe and protected. Who keeps us safe and protected? Somebody who doesn't judge us. Somebody who accepts us. Somebody who tries to understand us. And misunderstood, misinterpreted is also another huge aspect of wrongness. Vani says, oh, thank you for this word. Loser, failure, all wrongness, right? These are all definitions of our judgments. Loser, wrongness, all alone, and have to be alone. Because just please remember this, secretly you believe that the wrongness cannot go. You might be doing all kinds of healing work, but you actually don't believe that it will release. Because if it releases, you see, you will feel right. And you can't feel right because the wrongness is the comfort zone. The victimization is the comfort zone. The victimness is the comfort zone. The poverty consciousness is the comfort zone. If you are going to be right, light, white, bright, it means you have to get out of this comfort zone of darkness, wrongness, badness, smallness. It is no mean feat, but at least we have started today with the blessings and protection of Kalima. Like I am absolutely loving the fact that no auric field is interrupting the other auric field. Each one of y'all are completely encased. Swati says, I'm seeing Trishul every time I close my eyes. Fantastic. And as you know, my love, that is another weapon of protection, as well as destruction, but also weapon of protection. And Radha says, constant curses from elderly people. Absolutely, curses. It's another word for entities. Nishna says, feeling a heaviness on my shoulder since call started. Move that side's candle closer to you. And there's heaviness for Bina as well. Bina, I want you to sprinkle that salt water one more time in a circle around you. Shailaja says, when we feel unsafe, we call for someone to help. That someone could invite an entity without knowing. Yes, very possible. Because entities are all around us, my darlings. There's no escaping entities. Although I want to do one particular exercise today and see what happens with that. How did you feel when you hosed it down? Vandana says, getting unpleasant smell. That is also an indication of entity burning. Foul smells, like basically garbage releasing. And in fact, I'm going to use the word garbage for everything that's come our way. And Jyoti says, saw a snake, 5-hood protection. Vishnu ji. But snakes are so protective, so protective. Swati says, I was never seen by my parents and I really had to do a lot for them and others to get attention. So how good would that make you feel about yourself? Like what, at some point or the other, in every healing journey, we've all taught the sentence, what is so wrong with me that I can't get this? Right? What is so wrong with me? And that point is such a crucial point in our journey, because that is the point where you're actually looking at finding an answer to what is so wrong with me. And I want to tell you, my darlings, there is nothing wrong with you. You just haven't been loved and accepted enough. Diamond water, Vinita, you're going to see this cosmic water pipe like a hose, and that sprays out diamond water. So however you are seeing your wrongness, you want to hose it away. And tell me if you can see you or others coming out of that wrongness, this planet of wrongness. Dipali says, I just covered my eyes and saw a skull. Seems to be like from a past life, my love. Did you do black magic on others? Because those are the ones who use the skull. Nikita says, I'm misunderstood, taken for granted, and blamed even if I was right or not done anything wrong. And this is the murder of innocence. When we were so tiny, didn't even know what was going on, didn't even understand what was going on, but were held accountable for our parents' miseries and problems. This is what is repeating itself. Sangeet says, constantly fault finding. Very attractive. Because constantly fault finding means you can complain, you can crib, you can whine, you can be negative, you can be judgmental. Masaledar biryani for entities. Geetu says heaviness in the legs, and there may be fear of moving forward while feeling right. Sangeet, pain in the right back shoulder blade. Just process, it might pass. Rosie, please light another candle, my love. We are not finished. And Tejal says, my mother was verbally and physically abusive. I'm so sorry, my love. And now she doesn't remember that at all. Is it wrong to expect her to have some regret about it? Not at all. Nothing wrong with that. But I will tell you, my darling, it becomes a wrongness when you start waiting for it. Because she may or may not have that regret. She may or may not acknowledge what she's done. Maybe she will apologize in many other ways. This is also something I've seen very often, where the apology is not direct, but what's really going on is that the other person is trying to make peace. And Swati says, candle leaking and crackling, let it, my love. It's doing its work. It's protecting you. Pooja says, too much heaviness and strain on the neck. Please be in a very comfortably seated position, my love. There's difficulty breathing. Hang on. You know what? Let me give you the word. I'm going to give you the word. Just try it and see if all the symptoms start evaporating immediately. So, 1, 2, 3. The word is de-entitized. De-entitized. You are de-entitized now. You can be de-entitized now. Kalima, I ask you to come in and de-entitize all of us right now, right away. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Ma. De-entitize. De-entitizing in progress. Auric fields, physical bodies, emotional bodies, etheric bodies, spiritual bodies, financial bodies, de-entitize now. Auric fields, de-entitized now. Entities, be gone, be gone, be gone, banished by the power of the light, white, bright, right flames that are burning in us and around us. Banish entities. Please repeat after me 3 times. Entities, I banish thee. Entities, I banish thee. Entities, I banish thee. By the way, this is only part 1 of the entity clearing work. We will do so again on the next new moon call as well. Same setup we will have, except that time we will have salt instead of salt water. Tejashi says, feeling lighter, pain in the nose down. And Thelma says, love that word, Thank you. Love all those phrases. Sahana says, feeling like a snake-like energy crawling on me. Sahana, close your eyes, see this snake, pull it off you, throw it into the flame. Dipali has something leaving from the left side. So happy, my girl. I'm so happy. Feeling drained. Good. We do end up feeling drained. Remember on the group I mentioned that if you haven't eaten, you may not feel hungry afterwards. It's because there's this draining that starts taking place in the body. When we start draining like this, we lose our appetite as well. Florence says, I want to spit up. Please do, my love. This is coming from your spleen. And have you been eating a lot of milky products or sugary stuff? Geeta says, yawning, sleepy. Good. Good. Did everybody hose down, my darlings? Jasvinder says, I felt weakness in my body and face and jaw. And thank you for that word, Jasvinder. That's the other thing that happens in the wrongness of us. One part of us becomes very weak. Either we become weak mentally and then have to resort to control in order to keep ourselves fixed and rigid, because fixed and rigid means everything is tightly held together. There's no more space for other things to come in, including entities. We can become emotionally weak. Like emotionally weak is when no matter what we are saying, we are not heard, then we just start aligning with the other person. This happens in all abusive relationships, where we align with the abuser because that is what we would have done as children. We would have aligned with the abusive parent and done our best to please the abusive parent. It's the Stockholm Syndrome, where these prisoners aligned with the terrorists in order to make sure that their survival was guaranteed. Thelma says, feeling blessed and becoming cleaner. Superb. Cleansed and cleared is another word as well. Please say the sentence 3 times. I am cleansed and clear now. Cleared, huh? So you have to say it as past tense activity. I am cleansed and cleared now. And Vandana says, feeling grounded, feet getting pulled to the ground. Beautiful. Because the ground can also take away a lot of entities and negative energies. Entities, you can leave now. Begone, 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 banished. Entities, you can leave now. Begone, 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 banished. Entities, you are removed now. Begone, 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 banished. Entities, you all are deconstructed now. Begone, 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 banished. Entities, you all are extracted and put into the flame now. Begone, 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 banished. Entities, you are dismantled now. Begone, 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 banished. Entities, you are deactivated now. Deactivated, my darlings, is a decree. It was a decree that showed up in the last week of Saturn going direct and the last week of Pluto going direct. Deactivation can be used for anything. Right now, using it for entities. I'm going to say it again. Entities, you are deactivated now. Entities, you are declamped now. Begone, 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 banished. Entities, you are unplugged now. Begone, 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 banished. Entities, you can stop in your tracks and leave now. Begone, 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 banished. Entities, you are released now. Begone, 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 banished. Entities, you are disabled now. Begone, 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 banished. Everybody, I'm going to ask you 6 questions. The answer to that is yes. Please say it out loud. Can you remove these entities now? Yes. Will you remove these entities now? Yes. Can you relinquish your hold on these entities now? Yes. Will you relinquish your hold on these entities now? Yes. Can you relinquish the entities' hold on you now? Yes. Will you relinquish the entity's hold on you now? Yes. Repeat after me. Thank you so much for releasing and removing, cleansing and clearing me of entities now. You are cleansed, you are cleared. Entities erased. Be gone, be gone, be gone, banished to the nether worlds. Everywhere that we have been working under the influence of entities without realizing it, everyone who has wished us ill, anyone who has cursed us, and for all the times that we may have done this to others, rewired, reframed, rebooted. Rewired, reframed, rebooted. Rewired, reframed, rebooted. We will complete this call with the final one, which is I forgive myself for being made to feel so wrong and for all the times I have done it to myself and others. You are forgiven now. Throw out your lemons, let your candles burn out, flush away the glass of plain water as well as the salt water. I'm looking forward to part 2. My darlings, please come. We will be doing some more deeper work. Keep in mind that you can always see how the wrongness is looking to you for the next 14 days and keep hosing it away. Remember the protection of mirrors. Use the Pentacle to keep yourself there, especially when you are stepping out of the house or working with others. I find that the Pentacle, which is a magic talisman, also carries centuries and centuries of protective spells and magic around it. Use it, my darlings. Use it well. I thank you very much for being here. I wish you a fabulous new 2 weeks coming up. May you use this time's Mercury retrograde to bring in new ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving with yourself and with others. Take your saltwater bath. If you're not hungry, don't eat. Rest for a while. Lots and lots of blessings, magic, love, and protection to each and every one of y'all. Big hug. You are safe. What if you are always safe? You are protected. What if you are always protected? Thanking Kali Ma for any and all her interventions done on behalf of our highest good and our highest love. Namaste from India.